Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Calendar Anything webinar. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this session is being recorded. We also have everyone's lines muted, so please ask any questions you may have through the question console located on the bottom of your screen, and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. I'd like to start by introducing our host today. Joining us from Emphasis Silverline, we have Janelle Bromreck, who is the Senior Director for our App Exchange team. With that, I would like to turn it over to Janelle to get us started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Q4 webinar for Calendar Anything. Today is super exciting as we are going to be going over the fact that Calendar Anything is now an all-in-one scheduling and calendaring solution. So we're going to go over our new availability scheduling capabilities that released over the last few months, as well as we have a guest speaker that we are super excited about as well. But before we hop in, I, of course, want to let everyone know, thank you so much for attending and for being clients of Calendar Anything. So, as you have questions, as Emily said, type them into the chat box at the bottom of your screen. And we will get to your questions at the end of our call. We also, like I said, have a guest speaker. So if you have any questions for our guest speaker, please make sure that you ask them while he is presenting, as he's going to be taking those questions right after he is done. So a little bit of an agenda for today. We're going to meet the team, talk about who's speaking on our call today, a little bit of an overview of Silverline. And then, like I said, we're going to get right into a client success story with Chris Poole over at Mend. We're going to do a little bit of a demo on availability scheduling in our latest release, version 1.92. And then I'm going to be demoing some of our best practices for new user setup. We've actually seen a huge influx in additional licenses being purchased. So we want to take it back to basics and let you guys know how you can take new users, add permission sets, and get them all set up with using Calendar Anything. We're going to do a little bit of frequently asked questions on upgrading to LWC. A lot of folks are still on Classic that are old legacy clients of ours, and we want to make sure they're not missing out on this availability scheduling functionality and how you can upgrade to the latest product, Calendar Anything LWC. And we also have some housekeeping things, reminders about our monthly office hours, the fact that Lena and I will be at New York World Tour next week, and also a little bit of a high-level overview of our knowledge base and how to submit cases. So without further ado, I am going to hop into introducing ourselves. Like Emily said, hi, my name is Janelle Bromberg. I am the Director of App Exchange Sales and Alliances here at Silverline Emphasis. And I also have joining us our Director of Product Management, Lena Sin, and a guest speaker, which we are very excited about, Chris Poole, who is the CEO and founder of Mend. I will let Lena introduce herself really quickly.
Hi, everyone. Most of you probably know me already. My name is Lena. I'm a Director of Product Management here at Silverline, and I will be talking about our availability scheduling. So looking forward to my section of the presentation. Thank you, Janelle.
Absolutely. And we will get to Chris in just a moment. We're going to hear a ton from him. But before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about Silverline. So Calendar Anything is a product that is owned by Silverline, and Silverline is a Salesforce consulting firm, implementation partner. We have been on a partner of Salesforce since 2009, and we are a summit partner over the last several years. We specialize in 3 key industries: healthcare and life sciences, media and entertainment, and also financial services. And our breadth of products really range from services work, which is true project service work, as well as a full managed services practice. So if you guys have backlog on Salesforce work and you don't have that internal team to help you, please reach out to the Calendar Anything team. We'll get you aligned with our Silverline services team. So without further ado, we are so excited to have Chris Poole, CEO and founder from Mend, with us today. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. We're super excited to have you. So to get kind of started, we want to kind of hear a little bit about Mend, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk about why you chose Salesforce for Mend.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give a little background. So I founded Mend at the beginning of this year, around February. Prior to that, I was at Salesforce for 17 years. So very familiar with this whole setup and probably many of the customer use cases here. Mend is a property maintenance organization. We decided to transform an industry that needs some transformation. Our customers are property managers, and we work exclusively with short-term rentals. So think about all the Airbnbs across the US and in Canada. Those are our customers, and we offer maintenance services, but more importantly, automation for those properties. So calendaring and understanding the calendar of those properties and the calendar of our services is very, very important. We've built the entire business on Salesforce. Outside of Gmail and Google Docs, everything is on Salesforce, from accounting right through to business development, through to work order fulfillment. And we have various user interfaces, from our internal view to our custom mobile app to our Mender app for our resources to complete the work. So I hope I didn't cover too much there, but I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's great. So kind of clear on why you chose Salesforce. You know it like the back of your hand. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been advising companies for 16 years on how to transform and leverage the power of the force. So it made a lot of sense. And of course, all my resources, friends, and the community of which I existed, I wanted to leverage the technology. I also wanted to leverage those relationships.
I love that. I love that. So talk a little bit about what brought you to CalendarAnything and why you ultimately decided to choose CalendarAnything as your calendar of choice for Salesforce.
Yeah. So we offer automation services. So if you think about a short-term rental, there's a lot of things that need to take place from a basic maintenance perspective that are challenging. It's not like a house that you or I may live in where someone's there all the time to do the work. Even simple things like changing HVAC filters or changing the filter in a refrigerator, or even just changing light bulbs. All these things need to happen in these properties. They also get beat up. People come and go. Here's an interesting stat. An average Airbnb that can accommodate 12 people with about a 70% occupancy will see 2,000 people going through it every single year. Think about 2,000 people in your property or your rental. It causes a lot of damage. So our customers use us for reactive work, i.e. when customers or guests have complaints or there's something not working. But we also set up automated schedules. And so we're going to the property typically once a month. It depends on occupancy levels, but sometimes it's more than once a month. But we're going in there to do services, and that ranges from 1 of 10 different services. We originally were thinking about a timeline. We wanted a different UI. The UI our customers had was kind of what all of us are familiar with Salesforce, where it's a long list of tasks and a long list of completed tasks as well as upcoming tasks. And it's just not the way our minds work. We don't look at lists and understand all the data that's related to that list in terms of what is that service, how long is it going to take, when was the last time that service occurred. So our original concept was building out a timeline. And I wanted to, I worked with different developers. I looked at what was on the App Exchange. And we were really thinking about a point solution at that time. We need a timeline so our customers can view their property and view all the related data that's important to it from a maintenance perspective. That could have been done quite easily, and it wouldn't have had any reoccurring licensing costs, but it would have only done one little thing for us. And so we looked at different calendaring apps, and we started to realize that there was more need and future need to our requirements than just a timeline. I'd remembered working with CalendarAnything in the past. I remember that, I'd been multiple different roles at Salesforce. So that came top of mind. And what we realized is that CalendarAnything really was a platform. It's not a point solution. So we originally rolled out this incredible timeline where, our customers through their mobile app, that was another requirement of ours, which created the idea of developing it even more complex. But through our mobile app, they can view their own property's timeline. They can view what we've done in that property, what's upcoming, what's occurring this week, and they can actually create their own events and create their own work orders right through the calendar itself. So what was originally just a UI became an area where our customers were actually creating data records within it and viewing that data record and approving those data records right within the calendar itself. So what I try to say to people who are looking at CalendarAnything is that you have to think about it as a platform, and you have to think about all the different use cases that it can do. Now that we have it, it's great because, like I said, we built the business on Salesforce. So when a new requirement comes up, of course, we're using Salesforce, but we as a team are saying, should this be in CalendarAnything, and should we leverage CalendarAnything for the UI portion of this new need?
I love it. Thank you so much for that overview. That was great. And I know a lot of the conversations we've had over the past several months have been around the fact that it was so easy and quick to set up. So I definitely want to talk to you a little bit about the timeline from when you engaged us to when you actually went live, and how that out of the box functionality really helps streamline your processes and get you going quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the time to value was almost immediate. We are fortunate in that we're a startup. While we run the entire company on the platform, it's not like we do a lot of UAT or have to test everything out in a sandbox before rolling it out. We might have used the sandbox a little bit, but I would say about 3 days after we had installed the package, we already had the first iteration out. We were fortunate in that all of our activities were tracked in a standard Salesforce object called work orders. And that was not something that needed to be coded. That was right out of the box. And we basically decided, what is it that we want to display on the calendar? And then what is it that we want our customers to be able to create in the calendar? That was it. Those were the two things we had to do. It conformed to our security settings. It conformed to our user sharing settings. It conformed to it was very easy to decide what we wanted to share on the mobile app versus the internal view, even to our maintenance individuals, which we call vendors. All of those different constituents are leveraging that UI of CalendarAnything.
I love it. So actually, I want to hop in. I know we have some screenshots on our next slide. I want you to kind of talk me through what each of these screenshots is and how you leverage them.
Yeah, I want to be careful of what I can show here. So there's a little bit of scratching out here. But basically, we've color-coded our different service lines and service offerings. Sometimes we have to do some pretty complex work, and we'll get into that property, and that property will be off the market for 2 days while we do all the painting, while we change all the light bulbs, and while we sometimes do some serious repairs, whether there's a hole in the wall, or many times these Airbnb owners or short-term rental owners, they want to completely redo the design. It's important to have a nice fresh design to be first page on that Airbnb results page. So what you're seeing here on the right is our customer portal. I didn't have time to take a snapshot of the Mend mobile app, which is on Android and on Apple. But our users can use their mobile app, or they can go right onto our customer community. And you can see along the top, they have the ability to create a work order. They have the ability to view their last work orders. And then, of course, they can view their properties. Our customers are property managers, so many of them have 10, 20, 100 different properties. Each property has a calendar that's directly tied to it, and that's unique. So what we're seeing on the right is a snapshot of what occurred in November, and I took off some of the layers, but that's really all the work that we did. From getting in there and doing home health inspection to doing our HVAC filters. They have that visibility, and what's great is they can layer in multiple properties at once and get a sense of all the different activities that we had done. And some of our customers are now layering in their actual occupancy and layering in different data points so that they do have a true property 360 through their community and through their interaction with us. On the left is what we use internally on our mobile app, but also what it would look like on theirs. And that was another example of why the platform was so strong. It's kind of like what Salesforce offers, and the value prop they bring is, they take care of the infrastructure and they take care of that use case. So what I find is if I have a calendaring requirement or something that I need, I can reach out to anyone who's on this panel here, and usually they're going to point me in a best practice or outline how it's been done by another customer.
Absolutely. And I know we have one more screenshot, which is very similar. I believe this is just the internal Salesforce view that is filtered dynamically. Talk me through it a little bit.
Yeah, it's our internal view. We start to layer in a little bit more behind the scenes. We do route optimization. We're making sure our vendors are going from one appointment to another appointment in a very optimized way, so they're not driving all over the city. We operate in Nashville. We operate in Scottsdale. We'll be operating in additional markets shortly. But we use the calendar again for that. So we want to understand, we want our vendors to understand what's the history. And I didn't want them to have to go through a long thread of work orders or appointments. I wanted them to be able to look at a calendar and view by color code what's occurred there. Many times when we're on site, we might realize, hey, it has been a little while since we changed all the batteries. We should test those. Our ultimate job is to keep a property healthy. When it comes to Airbnbs and rentals, any customer complaint can drive the algorithm and move you off that first page. And we really want to make sure there's no refunds that are occurring because there's some form of an issue. So like I said, that user interface we've optimized for our vendors so that they have a strong understanding of what's historically occurred. And we're starting to now populate next best action and recommendations for things that maybe should be done while they're in the property.
I love that. And one other thing I wanted to kind of call out is the fact that I believe you're using and leveraging Field Service Lightning, correct?
Yes, yeah, that's we are the smallest company in the world that's using Field Service Lightning.
Well, and the fact that CalendarAnything can still visualize those dates, it's a question we get all the time. I'm using Salesforce Scheduler, I'm using Field Service Lightning. Can I still visualize those dates on CalendarAnything? Absolutely. And here's an example of that being used. So I really appreciate the screenshots. Thank you so much, Chris. Before we get into closing remarks and Q&A, I definitely just wanted to kind of call out and ask, what have you found from your users and as an admin, your favorite feature or functionality, something that's really stood out above everything else with CalendarAnything has to offer?
I think it would be our customers' ability to create data records from a UI that's intuitive. Salesforce in general is pretty intuitive, but we also know it can get pretty messy. If you start building out a lot of fields, you have a lot of flows running in the background, you have a ton of custom objects, it's really hard for someone to be onboarded. And that means from a new employee perspective, a new vendor perspective, or a new customer perspective. I find that the ability for them to create objects and immediately view it within the calendar, as well as just the general, we get calendars. Everyone has sort of grown up with a calendar in one way, shape, or form, whether it was on your fridge or whether it's on your computer or on your mobile device. So that I find, we've saved a tremendous amount of time onboarding new employees, training our own vendors, as well as, not the lack of having to really train our own customers on how to view a related list. A related list is not intuitive, a calendar is.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I say that all the time, that everyone understands a calendar. So amazing. I just want to say, Chris, thank you so much for coming and joining us today, sharing a little bit about your use case. As you guys, and I see some questions have come in.
Yep, we have a couple of questions for Chris.
Perfect. So it looks like we have a question. Is the mobile app custom or standard Salesforce?
We use the mobile app. Internally, we obviously use standard Salesforce mobile. I think it used to be like the Salesforce One. They change the name of us all the time. But no, we branded. We're using mobile app publisher for our Android and iOS app, and we've had no challenges with CalendarAnything.
Perfect. And I believe we answered this question, but are you using Salesforce Communities digital experience?
We are using Salesforce Communities, and I'm using digital engagement now for live chat. I'm not sure if digital experience is different than those ones, but yeah, any form of access to us through mobile app or through web-based is built on Communities.
Perfect. We have quite a few questions for you. Here's another one. What is your recommendation regarding employees that also want to use Outlook and Google integration for personal use?
We haven't really turned it on. It was my understanding that CalendarAnything supports that. What I find, having my background at Salesforce and just coming here, we always say if it's not in Salesforce, it didn't happen. So if you're leveraging an external calendar, I would recommend you do integrate it and leverage what's already out there. But I'd probably need to know the specific use case a little bit more.
Yeah, and to the point, we absolutely can take, a Google or Outlook calendar and pull it into CalendarAnything and overlay that. So you really do have that 360-degree view, which is what a screenshot of what we saw. Re-answer the question, is the mobile app customer standard Salesforce? It was a custom mobile app, correct? You said?
We're using mobile app publisher. So it's probably one of the more expensive parts of our contract, but Salesforce does make it very easy to publish a branded mobile app through their mobile app publisher platform, I guess it's called. But that's what we're using. That was, my understanding, that was the only way that we could get a branded app and one that we owned. And Salesforce makes it really simple. And like I said, CalendarAnything works perfectly in it. It's not like we had to do any separate development. Basically what's in our community that's browser based is exactly what's in our mobile app.
Awesome. And so if somebody was interested in your services, it seems like we might have a lead for you. How would they go and download that app on their end? Would you just type in Mend?
Yeah, if you go Mend 247, you can find it on iOS. Candidly, we have about 300 customers using it, and their property managers. Not a single one is using Android, which I find to be very interesting. But so that one's a little less updated than the iOS, but they can download Mend 247. We are still a startup, and when we bring a new customer on board, we do bring in a fair amount of customer data. So check us out on the website. And being fully transparent, I haven't set it up so a customer can fully onboard by themselves. I expect to get to that point, but we hold hands and we'll import all the data and send out a username and password. So you can just reach out to me or check out our website, and that's mend247.com.
Awesome, appreciate it. So one final question, I think, is what have you found, or what processes do you feel? I know you're a startup, so it's kind of hard to compare what you were doing before to what you're doing now, but what do you feel is saving you the most times with your client interaction, just your day-to-day with CalendarAnything?
So prior to CalendarAnything, we got a lot of calls and a lot of emails and texts about, hey, when's my next service appointment? Like I said, it was in the app, and it was in the mobile solution. People just didn't find it intuitive. They couldn't find that data. So even if I pointed and said, hey, here's your list of upcoming appointments, they would get things mixed up from earliest start date to our scheduled start date to even when the next one was. So a lot of our services are reoccurring. So when we complete a service, another service is created. And a lot of times that would confuse people. They'd say, well, why was that created then on a map? On a calendar, it made a lot of sense. So it's saved our internal operations, and we're talking about maintenance. There's not a ton of margin in maintenance. We're not a software company, right? So we like doing the work, and we're getting out there and rolling up our sleeves and actually doing work. I can't afford to be paying 8 people, 10 people internally to help customers. They need to be able to help themselves. So that was the biggest time saver, was rolling out the calendar and saying, there's your property, there's all the future work, there's all your past work.
I love that. And that's actually a great segue into what we will be talking about is self-scheduling, giving the power to your users and letting your prospects and your customers self-schedule and save you guys time and let them have the power of scheduling in their hands. So super excited. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today. You're more than welcome to hang around. But if you want to jump, I completely understand you're a busy man.
No, I want to see what's coming up here. I mean, we use it a lot, so I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you again.
Thank you.
So now, like I said, a perfect segue into availability scheduling. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Lena. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Lena, I will let you take it away and show us all around availability scheduling. Actually, before I pass it to Lena, I will say this. You notice we're wearing our pink shirts. Lena is going to be demoing out of what we call our Barbie World demo. We were at Florida Dreamin' a few months ago, and we wanted to do a fun little demo jam all around Barbie's world, kind of showing that CalendarAnything is industry agnostic. It works on any cloud. It works with any license type. As long as there's a date in Salesforce, you can visualize it and you can now self-schedule off of it. So without further ado, I will go ahead and pass it over to Lena with our branded Barbie availability scheduling demo.
Well, thank you, Janelle. So some of you might have seen our fun Barbie demo. If not, please check out our website. It's there. So let me share my screen and we can start. All right. So let's talk about CalendarAnything and availability scheduling. So like Chris mentioned before, CalendarAnything is a powerful visualization tool of Salesforce data. You can visualize any custom or standard or external object on the calendar as long as there is a date or daytime field on the record. So here we have our Barbie branded website. I want to talk a little bit about the UI. We are leveraging design tokens in the Lightning experience. So we'll take on the branding of your org. So it will blend in seamlessly. You will not even know that it's a third-party app. It will look very native to what Salesforce has. So let's talk about calendars. So here I have a bunch of calendars in my left panel, and they're all in their respective sections. We're going to talk about availability calendars today. So what is availability calendar? Availability calendar is a template that allows you to define and store virtual records in Salesforce. So let me uncheck this. So we're just looking at the availability calendar. So the records you see here, they don't actually exist yet. So these are sort of placeholders that you now have an option to create through availability calendars. So some of the use cases would be if you want to set your availability for in-person or virtual meetings with your colleagues, or in education workspace, if you need to set office hours with your students. If you're a doctor that would like to share availability with your patients, if you are a fitness instructor, the possibilities or use cases are infinite here. So in our Barbie world scenario, we want to enable Barbie to kind of, set time aside from her important duties and have some fun with her friends. So we have some availability calendars that are themed. So we have a brunch with Barbie or a spa day with Barbie. So her friends can schedule time with Barbie. So the way that the calendars set up, it's very similar to the standard CalendarAnything calendars. We have a nice wizard here that step by step takes you through the availability calendar setup. You can set availability for basically use any object to store the availability template in. It's just a record in Salesforce, so it will take you through all the steps. We have nice little information icons that help you along the way, as well as very comprehensive document describing all the steps that you need to take to set it up. So once this is set up and you share your calendar with people internally or externally, Barbie now can go in and set her availability. So let's take a look at how that works. So we're going to select set availability here. And here I'm looking at this grid here. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying what hours I want to allocate for my brunch availability. And we can see here that Barbie is generally available for brunch from 10 to 2. There are 3 time spots. Each brunch duration is 2 hours. We have a section here where you can specify the duration of the meeting. You can also set the time zone for which Barbie is available. And here in this kind of a red color, you can see that she's busy somewhere else. So this is also taking into the account other availability templates that she can potentially have set up for her, so that you don't over allocate your time and prevent double booking. So we also have a concept of availability exception. So let's say I'm going to be on vacation, or I'm taking, I don't know, some break and I'm not available during some period of time. I can set my availability exception availability period. So let's do that actually. Let's say Barbie is not going to be available for brunch around New Year. So from here we can say on Saturday and Sunday, Barbie is no longer available. And we're gonna click apply, and I'm gonna close out. So now when my calendar automatically refreshed, you can see that this Saturday and this Sunday, Barbie is not available for brunch. So you can manage your availability through setting various exception periods, as well as just adjusting your overall general availability. And like I said, we can have multiple availability calendars. And every time you go and look into the availability template, it will reflect your other selection from your other calendars. So now let's see how the scheduling works. Let me move this over. So you can expose this internally so your colleagues can schedule meetings with you. You can put CalendarAnything component on your digital experience or community and open this availability calendar to your partner users or customers. You can also put it on your website. So you can embed CalendarAnything as a Force.com site. on the website. And this is what we have done here. So this is our beautiful Barbie intake form. So we want to capture who's actually scheduling time with Barbie. So this also works as a lead generation capturing form. So once this form is filled out, we will create a contact record in Salesforce to capture information about this lead. So we're gonna just put the name, the email, and we're gonna say we want to book brunch. And we're gonna click next. It's gonna load the calendar. And we will see when Barbie is available for brunch. It's taking a little bit of time. So this is a live demo, so could be some hiccup along the way. Let's refresh this page and see if we can try again. So let's go Jane. I'm gonna change her last name. More time. All right, great success. So it doesn't look like anything is available this Saturday. Let's switch to next week. We can see that we have a couple of options here. So because we are doing it in 2-hour intervals, you can see that we have multiple options. The way that availability calendar works is that once one option is booked, the algorithm will look at other available time slots and only display those that can actually fit those 2-hour engagements. So let's select this 11 to 1. And here we can see like additional details. This form is completely customizable, just like our detail pop-up in the standard calendar. We're gonna click create appointment here. Confirm that this information is correct and click save. And we're gonna see the confirmation message. This also has an ability to send confirmation email with ICS file attached so that whoever scheduled the meeting or the appointment will get that email notification with the ICS file and they can add it to their Google or Outlook calendar. So let's hop back into CalendarAnything and let's enable. So first of all, let's refresh here. And you can see that this availability calendar was updated. We no longer see the spots for like 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock time because that's already been booked. And now let's enable our Barbie and Friends event calendar. Let's disable that. And you can see this is the record we just created. We can click into it. This is a record inside the custom object. You can see that this is the contact record that was just generated from the form. So you can, collect that lead information as you go. So in the nutshell, availability scheduling is allowing you to create those virtual placeholders for people to schedule time with, and then once it's scheduled, you can visualize those scheduled appointments on the calendar alongside with availability. So this gives you a more of a 360 look at what you have going on, also what your availability is for other things, and you can easily adjust all of that on the go. So I see we have some questions. Janelle, do we want to take them now or wait?
Say we should leave them for the end.
Okay, great.
Perfect. So let me go ahead and hop back over to my screen. Wonderful. So next we're going to be talking about CalendarAnything best practices and setting up a new user. So like I said, there is a ton of additional licenses that have been purchased in the last like 2 months. And so I just want to get back to basics on how we can set up those new users. So first thing you need to do is go into setup. and you need to find that user. So go ahead and type in users. Sarah is the one, our new here to Sarah Daly. We're going to go ahead and hop into Sarah Daly's user record, and we're going to do a few things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to assign a permission set. So go into edit assignments, and you're going to find CalendarAnything LWC default permission set. We're going to add that. So that gives her access to the actual CalendarAnything object. Before, she wouldn't have been able to find it. Now she can. And now you're also going to want to give them a license. So I'm going to go ahead and hop down here to our manage packages and assign a license. And we're going to assign the CalendarAnything LWC package, press add. And now we have Sarah, and I'm going to go ahead and refresh the screen so you can see. So now Sarah has the CalendarAnything default permission set, as well as access to the managed package and a license. And one more thing I want to call out is the fact that we have added Sarah already to a CalendarAnything public group. Public groups are how you share calendars within CalendarAnything. So you always want to make sure your users are added to public groups, and then that public group is shared on a calendar. So now we have the back end of Sarah's setup ready to go. Now we want to go ahead and log in as Sarah and see what she'll experience. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as Sarah. And you see that I have access to CalendarAnything on Sarah's user. And the big thing you'll notice when you log in is everything's blank. There's no calendars or anything enabled. So we're going to go ahead and add an existing calendar. And you see now these are all of the calendars that have been shared with her. So I'm going to go ahead and pull over campaigns and cases, press save. And now you can see that Sarah has access to both campaigns and cases calendar. So that is how you quickly set up a user. But I do want to let you know that we get asked all the time. I want the user experience to be streamlined. And we absolutely can do that with a little bit of customization. You can make sure that as soon as you add a license and a default permission set, that any of the calendars that you have enabled for their public group will automatically show on their sidebar. So we have ways to do that. Reach out to us. We absolutely can customize it and make that admin experience a little bit better. This is just the standard way of doing it. So I definitely wanted to make sure I called that out. And of course, if you have questions on that, definitely let me know. So I'm going to hop back in here and talk a little bit about transitioning to LWC. So we have quite a few clients that are still on our legacy package, CalendarAnything Classic. And as you just saw with our availability demo, there is a ton of functionality that is rolling out in LWC, multi-level conditional coloring, definitely availability scheduling. There's so many different things that have rolled out over the past 2 or 3 years that you definitely don't want to be missing out on. Now, it is a brand new managed package. That means that both packages can live concurrently inside of your org, especially while you transition, and we will absolutely help you transition. But it is a brand new managed package, and that means new pricing. So pricing now is $16.58 per user per month. It's only $4 more per user per month in the classic license. And now you get a full scheduling and calendaring application in one. So definitely something to keep in mind for you there. We do plan to sunset CalendarAnything Classic in December of 2026 currently. So something to keep in mind as you start to find the bandwidth on transitioning. We absolutely can help you with that. Don't feel like you have to take it on yourself. You don't. We will scope level of effort to get all of your calendars moved from Classic over to LWC and all that same functionality working in the same way, as well as uncovering additional use cases and helping you set up that availability scheduling piece. Do you have to purchase our migration assistance? No, you do not. It is completely optional, but I do want to make sure that you guys know that it is an option for you. So I'm going to pause right here. Lena, is there anything I'm forgetting that you want me to mention on transitioning to LWC?
I think you covered it all. I just want to highlight for our classic users that the classic package currently requires a mobile extension companion package. With LWC, it's all in one, and you can use one component in all of your experiences in digital experience and as well as mobile. So it's a more streamlined for admins and less maintenance.
Yes, absolutely. I thank you so much for calling that out. Yes, Classic was both mobile and desktop, and now in LWC, mobile and desktop are together in one package. So thank you, Lena, so much for calling that out. And of course, if you're interested in upgrading to LWC, if you want to test LWC inside of a sandbox, please reach out to us. We can provide you links to do so. And of course, we can help you with transitioning over to LWC if you need it. So a little bit of housekeeping reminders. We do monthly office hours. They're the second Thursday of every month at 3 p.m. Eastern. The next one we're doing is January 11th. We decided to skip December's because we were doing this webinar. But please, you'll get those emails. Please register for our monthly open office hours. We do not have muted lines. We will absolutely just open it up to everyone and ask any questions they have. We can help you with configuration in real time. Whatever it is, we're here to help. Monthly office hours are a great way for us to assist you in real time. We also have a help center that is at CalendarAnything.com. I'm actually going to hop over into CalendarAnything.com. It'll take you to our website here, and there's a few different things you can do. You can log a case immediately. And the big thing about logging a case and best practice here is give us your org ID, your subscriber org ID, as well as give us login access for at least a week. And that allows us to quickly get started on what your question is. We can take a look at your data model. We can figure out what the best solution is and help you that much quicker. And then we also have an entire knowledge article section in our help section. You can quickly type in and you can see, okay, well, how do I embed a calendar dynamically like Chris showed us earlier? You have both classic articles and LWC articles. So please use them. But of course, if you have any questions, you have our chat bot right here. And you can also, of course, submit a case for any questions you have.
Yep. Just one thing to add about our website is that we do have short tutorial videos there as well. So if you have a question and you want to watch a little video with the answer, we have that as well.
Yep, absolutely. Not all knowledge articles have videos, but we are working diligently on getting those set up. You also can email us to submit a question. So CalendarAnything@silverlinecrm.com. Please feel free to reach out to us that way. That will be a web to case. We'll automatically create a case for you. But again, provide us your org ID and login access, and we can get you started on helping you that much quicker. A few other things before we hop into questions. Key roadmap items for 2024. It's always a big question we get asked. We, of course, are going to continuously improve the availability scheduling functionality. But a big thing that we're super excited about, especially for the healthcare and life sciences space, is the concept of waitlist scheduling. So we'll see a little bit more about that accelerator. It's in the very beginning stages of being built out, but we've gotten some great feedback from Salesforce so far. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And if you have any questions or, hey, yes, I have a concept of waitlist I'm trying to solve for, please engage with us. We would love to hear what your use case is to make sure that we're thinking about all the things. So without further ado, I do want to make sure I ask Lena one more time. Anything else on reminders or roadmap items we want to mention?
No, I think, Janelle, you got it.
Perfect. So now it's time for Q&A, and we had quite a few questions come in. So we have a use case. This is a question. We have a use case where we need to schedule support workers to participate for classes on a one-on-one, one-on-two, or one-on-three ratio. How can that be handled in CalendarAnything? What kind of licensing is required? And does each support worker need a license? The classes are scheduled once per semester. Lena, I'm going to let you take that one.
Sure. Thank you, Janelle. So let's start with what kind of licensing is required. So CalendarAnything license is required for any user that needs to view the calendar. So if you just need to schedule those people and they never need to look at the calendar, they do not need a license. The way that it can be handled. So availability scheduling also allows you to set availability for assets. So you can set availability for, I don't know, rooms, chairs, cars, equipment, and things like that. And we do support scheduling multiple resources for one meeting. So we can show who's available for that particular time slot, and you can select multiple people to be added to that meeting. So the data model will have to see what you currently have and how you're handling and how we can plug into that, and if we need to make any adjustments. So Michael, definitely reach out to us, and we'll schedule a call to dig deeper into this use case.
Another question is, we're already excited about waitlist scheduling. What can you tell us about waitlist scheduling so far, Lena?
So waitlist scheduling, at a concept level, we have let's say you have a use case where you have a bunch of people on the wait list. So you kind of want to see the list alongside with calendar, and also with resources that you have available for specific dates. So let's say you I don't know, clinic scheduling patients. You want to see if you have nurses and doctors available to take those patients from the wait list. So the way it will work is that you identify if a resource is available, and CalendarAnything can help you do that with various filtering options. Once you identify that you have a resource that can accommodate for your wait list, it's envisioned to be as simple as clicking on a person's name, and then create form will pop up. We will pre-populate some information based on the record we just clicked on. So if it's a contact, we can fill in the contact name, the address, the phone number, whatever information you store on a contact record, and create that appointment record on the calendar, so that you don't have to, scroll through the list and switch between screens. Everything is going to be on a single page.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lena. I believe that's all of the questions we have, and I think we're almost at time, if not over time. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be sending out this recording to everyone that registered and also attended. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow in your email. And of course, if you have any other questions that came to mind, please do not hesitate to submit a case. And of course, also join our monthly office hours. And one last thing, we will be at New York World Tour next week. If you're in New York and you are planning on attending Salesforce World Tour, please reach out to us. We would love to meet you and take you for a cup of coffee. So I think that is going to be it, and we will wrap if no one else has any other questions. I don't think we do. Lena, anything before we let everyone go today?
No, just want to wish everyone happy holidays. And thank you for your continued support. And we're looking forward to working with you next year and beyond.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk with you soon.